For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
What's the legacy of the outgoing parliamentary representative for VA4 South? And what prompted me to pose that question to you and to also make this the NewsSpin question of the day? We'll find out during the course of the program. It's that time of day again when our religious leaders will focus on the Bum War. And one caller to the broadcast yesterday pays homage to Tyson. Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, and that is NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. The broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. And during the course of the program, you'll be hearing from Amanda. She'll be going through some of your comments in the chat room and providing us with regular updates. We hope you're having yourself a fantastic Wednesday wherever you are at this point in time. Let me say a hearty hello to you watching or listening to the broadcast beyond the shores of St. Lucia. We have a very active audience in the diaspora as well as you in our homeland, where we are broadcasting and operating and viewing everything from our vantage point. So yesterday, we had this impressive caller to the program who called from Canada. And she took issue with some observations that were made by a caller on Monday of this week pertaining to Dr. Kenny Anthony and the stewardship that he's provided, if you can call it that, to VA4 South since he assumed the position of MP for that constituency in 1997. And she sees it from a different perspective in terms of his legacy. My take in just a bit, but first, let us listen to this NewsSpin caller, part of a contribution she made to the program on Tuesday.
Yesterday, I listened with bemusement when there's a caller who called from Viewport, and he called to comment on the new candidate hand-selected by Kenny Anthony to be his replacement for the next elections. Now, that caller, he said he was no fan of Kenny Anthony. However, he went on to say he hoped that Butcher would follow in Kenny Anthony's footsteps by not engaging in name-calling and hostility towards his opponents, as Kenny contested with grace and decorum. I think he was borrowing, these words from Kenny. But you see, for me, Tim, that is problematic when the caller would say that he hopes Butcher would take Kenny's advice. I'll tell you why. We must be careful to not allow these politicians, no matter which party, to rewrite history. Let me remind your gentle and not so gentle listeners, spinners, and monitors that it was under Kenny's watch Guy Joseph was called a dog. Remember the term poodle?
Yes.
The term was used by him, his supporters, and surrogates. Tim Stevenson King, who now sits in the elevated position of senior minister in the Labour Party cabinet, under Kenny Anthony's watch, was given the name Stephanie Queen, and that the only certificate he had was a birth certificate. Richard Frederick, who has now been washed clean by the blood of Labour, was given the name Pitbull, another dog on Anthony's watch. Added to that, he was labelled as a drug lord, money launderer by the Labour Party under Kenny Anthony's watch. Tim Alan Chasney, again under Kenny Anthony's watch, was labelled as a massa, which is so ironic since there is zero evidence to show that Alan has massa blood in him, unlike Kenny Anthony, who is the son of an massa. Might I remind you, Tim, you yourself, whilst you were not even a political opponent of Kenny Anthony, you got labeled by him as a media terrorist. I could go on with many more examples, but I'll stop here because I think right-thinking people understand the point I'm trying to bring across. Yes, Kenny has decided to sit by the rivers of Babylon, but we must not allow him to sing the redemption song when it comes to his political career and the havoc it has wreaked on St. Lucia. We only need to look back to 1997 when he got that 16-1 mandate. What was his first move? He brought in affirmative action, borrowed an American term, which sought to address the misrepresentation of visible minorities and other underrepresented groups in employment and education. Kenny brought that term into St. Lucia, and he placed Labour Party faithful and operatives throughout the public service, which over the years, whenever we have a UWP government, they cripple progress to the point of affecting key outcomes that would benefit the country just to satisfy their political agenda. This is Kenny Anthony's legacy.
Yesterday's caller to NewsSpin and her contribution on Dr. Kenny Anthony's legacy. Now, it might be considered a little too early to make some pronouncements on the former Prime Minister's legacy and what he would be remembered for the most when he meets his demise. But I have always find myself in a position where look at Dr. Kenny Anthony from various perspectives. And the typical politician in St. Lucia is one normally who would engage in the belittling of his or her opponents. And they could do that in a classy manner, and they could also engage in rhetoric that would be demeaning as well, unlike what happens in the UK and a number of other more progressive jurisdictions where one's intellect would be utilized to be scathing and to belittle and to cut down and chop down their opponents. In St. Lucia, we have a tendency to act in a very crass manner. What I would like to single Dr. Kenny Anthony for because, we like to say, the old people like to say, Haïs chien me dit d'un blanc. When Dr. Kenny Anthony landed on the political scene in 1997, he obviously brought something that was fresh, that was innovative, and the debate, the quality of the debate in St. Lucia as far as the politics is concerned, it rose to a high standard. He took it to a particular level. He elevated it. And I have always credited Dr. Kenny Anthony, to the disappointment of some people in this country, for the kind of press freedom that we enjoyed when he assumed political office in 1997. And I'll be very honest and very consistent where this is concerned, among other things, of course. And the frequent press conferences, but then again, later in the second term of his stewardship, he did a volte-face. He changed on us. And we had less press conferences. He was less accommodating. He was not always forthcoming in wanting to clarify certain things, whether it's Rochomel and Grindberg. And so we, in the media, lost confidence and lost faith in Dr. Kenny Anthony. What he also did, I think, which was a positive as well, is the level of infrastructure, the investment that was placed in the construction of new facilities for the police, talking about new fire police stations for the police, and so on. So, whilst we can concur that they were negatives, I would like to create some balance where Dr. Kenny Anthony is concerned, in particular, to single him out for those areas where definitely he made a positive contribution. I think it's not long-lasting, but there was a particular era when I think we definitely benefited from what we had been clamoring for over several decades prior to him entering the political arena in 1997. Transparency and accountability reigned, even if for a short time or for a brief period. Let me hear from you right now at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody just assisted me by saying the prison. Yes, the Bodiley Correctional Facility. All right, let me see if I have any of your WhatsApp messages to go through. Normally they come in very, very early. And somebody says yes, somebody said the prison, and that would be one such achievement. And we have some other WhatsApp messages that I could go through. Somebody says there, isn't it just me, or do you find it bizarre as well that it is the minister with responsibility for labor, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, mediating when she's a policymaker? Where is the democracy? Is that a direct conflict of interest? This smells like politics. Where is the labor commissioner? Shouldn't the St. Jude's board raise an objection? That's a matter involving I think the chief nurse at the St. Jude Hospital and the board of directors of that health institution. There was a dismissal which occurred in 2024, and in her wisdom, the labor minister, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, decided to intervene. She ruled on the matter, ruled in favor of the senior nurse who was dismissed, but I think she gave the board some 21 days to respond to a ruling, and that has not happened yet. So this individual who sent me that WhatsApp message is questioning whether it was appropriate, the appropriateness of the intervention of Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot in that issue. Somebody also says that with regard to Dr. Kenny Anthony and his legacy, the Castries car park. Thank you so much for all your messages. We have another message to go through. Somebody says that the Darren Sammy cricket ground. Okay, another WhatsApp message. This is why I could never support the St. Lucia Labour Party. My Guy Joseph gave us in Castries Southeast this beautiful building. something that could host bigger events than the cultural center. This was stopped just to punish Mr. Joseph. What a shame. We have a call via WhatsApp. Hello and good afternoon to you. You are on the air. Hello.
Good day, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Just a little comment on your Kenny Anthony thing there. I am no fan of Kenny Anthony, not that he did not do some good things, but I am not only judging a politician based on a structure that he built. I'm judging a politician on how he was able to handle the affairs of the country to make me an individual, especially being self-employed, to be able to have a better life whilst in my country. Not having to depend on a politician, but having to depend on the policies that the politician is charged with, putting together so that we, the people, can have a better life, so that economic activity could be alive. There could be enough economic activity, whereas everybody could survive without having to rely on government. And this is the main problem that I have with Kenny Anthony. From day one Kenny Anthony came, he never sought to create that environment that will cause the citizen to thrive. He created an environment of dependency, okay, that one had to depend on government. And so I go back to one of the initiatives that we still use to dating. You go in a country where you have maybe, let's say 60% of the workforce gainfully employed. And then you have another 40% that is below when you're looking at education-wise. That is a bit below that part because they're not properly educated and there isn't enough jobs for them. So you create initiatives like NICE and STEP and those things for these people. But you see what Kenny Anthony did. When you had that 60% of educated people that really needed a job, that could not get a job, Kenny Anthony went and created those initiatives team for the less educated people. I had nieces and, that had more than certain amount of CXCs that it required to work in these programs. She could not get a job. Yet still the people that did not, get themselves educated or did not get an education were the ones working. So that alone disqualifies him for me because you went and you create something that basically have the people that have already spent all their monies educating themselves not working, and you creating an avenue where you keeping the poor. Really, that is what it was. You understand? Because the people that really needed a job, no avenue was created. Nothing was created for these people to continue, working, But like I said, in my books, everybody knows I have disqualified Kenny as a prime minister. He spent too long and not enough was done underneath his administration. Just to touch on one other thing. Today I had a little argument this morning with two persons. And two persons from my community. And they basically, their thing was, right now things is better than any time before. One of them operates a stall at the Castries market team. And you know how the Castries market people have been crying.
Yeah.
The other one recently got a little 3-month contract cleaning by the road. And automatically that makes it better, this administration better than any other administration team. One of them said to me that he don't have to pay, books or whatever, not books, but his school children fees or whatever. But I'm saying to him, this is the thing that I've been talking about for 4 years now. Whereas you had a program, okay, that would have saved you. Most children write 8 subjects and up. One textbook team is $199. I'm saying it one more time, team. You had a bill of $1,800. That's $1,600. Sorry about that. $1,600 for textbooks alone that you have to push your hands in your pocket to get today. That the ebook would have saved you that $1,600. You would only have to buy the workbooks. The government came and they put facility fees, which is most cases less than $200. Maths and English, these two things, Tim, costing you within $500. So you telling me that it is so much better for you not to pay $500 than for you to pay $1,600. That tells me that our people, some of our people, are really not in a good place mentally. You understand? So, Tim, it tells you how our people think. The little handouts, and the Labour Party has mastered that. The little handouts that they're giving here and there is blinding those people, okay? Rather than to think of the bigger picture and see how it is today when gas prices are at $16.50, when oil is at an all-time low, and you're paying more than when oil was higher, twice the amount that it is today. And you telling me life is better today when these people literally kill you for no development on the airport, the docks dead.
Now on that call, I will agree with you that Dr. Kenny Anthony should have done a lot more for the people of VA4. And even before Dr. Kenny Anthony assumed the position of MP for that constituency, one got the impression that, in particular, Dr. Vaughan Lewis wanted to do more for that constituency. I think he had launched an initiative called the New Frontier of Opportunity. And in recent years, even then Prime Minister Alan Chasney sought to do more for VA4 South. And you had Dr. Kenny Anthony. That's the blemish that he has among others, being the MP for close to 3 decades. And he did not do anything that is significant. That's a legacy that's earth-shattering, that will have a long-term positive impact on the lives of the constituents there.
So let me just give you one little thing before I go. Mm-hmm. Remember, we've had that same free zone there, the New Frontier, the free zone. Therefore, the longest while the Chinese, when they came, Kenny Anthony came in 97, I think were the ones who built those factory shells. These things have been there, sitting there with minimal investment in them. Alan Chasney came, and something we've never seen in the South before. Brought in Odro Labs, brought in ITEL team. And for the first time in my life, I saw busloads of people leaving Castries to go down to Viewfort and work. Never had that happen before. People were trying to get to Castries to work, to get jobs. But I tell you, for the first time in my life, I saw busloads. The bus drivers were happy because when you see 4 o'clock team, you're not getting buses on the bus stand. Every bus by the airport there, getting loads to go Castries and everywhere else because of the amount of young people that was working. And here's the other thing about it. These young people, by the time it's 2 months, they make more than the $5,000 that they're giving them in the youth economy nonsense they have today. You understand? So by getting these young people working, it was 10 times better than the initiative they go and start their calling it youth economy. Because they would have been able to set up business for themselves, build their homes, do all of that on the money they were getting paid. As soon as Labour came in, what happened? Ojos fold. Because they stopped supporting them. There's a few people working for Ojos, but they're basically working from home. You understand? ITEL, they brought in a minimum wage. ITEL said, what? I'm already paying $11. Y'all bring in a $6.50? Well, I'll bring it down. $9. And at that, they can't tell them anything because they're still above the minimum wage. You understand? Tim, Kenny Anthony have not done anything to what Philip JP is doing worse for this country. Have a good day, Tim.
You too, sir. Thank you so much. A WhatsApp message, somebody says, they're my brief and simple contribution on Dr. Kenny Anthony's legacy. When he became Prime Minister in 1997, he was dressed in the robes of a statesman. When on his second term, he became a real St. Lucian. Let me see if I have more of your WhatsApp messages. Let me go through this one while we see if we have a call on the landline. Somebody says there, are you aware that there are a backlog of cases with the Labor Tribunal as far back as 8 to 10 years? Yes, I have been informed. We have a call. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, okay. I've been listening to the little discourse there on legacy, and I'm hearing a few more or less buildings being attributed to legacy of a politician. Should we really be attributing that to a politician when this is basically the minimum one would expect to get from a politician in the employ of the people to put the necessary infrastructure, hospitals, fire stations, prisons, and these kind of things? I am not sure if we should really look at that as a big feather in the cap. I would look at a project like the dam as something that is forward thinking, whereby it's going to impact the lives of generations to come. It's going to facilitate housing development, it's going to facilitate businesses and so much. I would look at a project like the Rodney Bay area as something that has a legacy, that it's going to generate so much going down the line that it's in perpetuity. But to attribute a few fire stations and something to somebody's legacy that spent 15 years at the top, I don't know much about that, Tim. I think we should be holding the politicians or the administration to a higher level so that they could start working for the people and not for their friends or as it appears, their cliques or their party or whatever.
Their friends, their families, or their financiers.
Exactly. Because that's who we've seen is getting the bigger part of the slide, the bigger size of the pie, Tim. And the country, the people as a whole are suffering, and real suffering. You look at companies milking the people, and I mean, I don't even have to mention them. We know those, that their service is breaking down every day, and you can't get any, kind of remuneration for it. They have so many things. You have insurances bringing up the rates at will. No explanation is given. Do you ever hear a politician talking about that? You go to this place, the price of goods are increased. All they tell you is shipping. You have nobody really breaking that down, for the citizenry. Who is really setting the price of fuel that the citizenry can be comfortable and say, yes, these people are doing a fine job. As it is right now, I cannot personally say that the price of fuel is justified at $16 right now in St. Lucia. It's not, I cannot do that. It's just not something I can do, because in the past it was much lower when the cost on the world market was higher. So how do you justify it being higher now that it's lower on the world market, So I think we have to hold the administration to a higher level and stop looking at these little piecemeal things, maybe the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground, you could look at that as something that has some longevity in it, but not your basic things like fire stations and prison and this kind of thing, We need to look at things that are sustainable and that are producing for the country and to get people employed and that kind of thing, to me, is more of something you could talk about legacy as opposed to these kind of things, Tim. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. WhatsApp message, Tim. I don't always agree with Dr. Kenny Anthony, but I respect him for stating he will not sit with certain characters in cabinet, and I respect him for keeping his word. 4522979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says that, Tim, the only thing I will remember Kenny for is command of the English language. Other than that, he gets a big fat zero. I hope when he drives around VA4 in the months and years to come, he hangs his head in shame. A WhatsApp message. And let me turn my attention to Amanda. And good afternoon to you, ma'am. Let's find out what is happening in the chat room.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, NewsSpinners. Tim, a few comments from the chat room, and NewsSpinner says here, Press freedom, Tim. Have you forgotten about the media terrorist title? A new spinner says, "Our team, I am not impressed with Kenny because of the state of year 4. Another commentary reads, "Nothing beats the Compton era of politics, class, and decorum." Someone says, "Our team, there should be no place for politicians to belittle each other based on their looks, disabilities, their family, private lives, and even going as far as raising their dead families from the grave in order to gain political mileage. Politicians should stay on course and fight against the bad policies, victimization, evil, wickedness, etc. done by their opponents, but not fighting against each other personally." A commentary reads, "The SLPs sold Kenny as a constitutional lawyer who would fix the issues in our constitution. As usual, it never happened. Instead, he handed over a country which couldn't borrow." A new spinner says, "Thank you, call. It's because of this myopic thinking we are in the position that we are today." Another commentary reads, "This is why we should all learn from history, like Efri Flood Karas said. We should not allow politicians to rewrite history. We as a people are too quick to forget. We are too comfortable with the same old, A commentary reads, "The hacks are damaging their critical thinking skills to protect the victory. They are delulu." Someone says there, "Our IQ is synonymous with our current developments." And a new spinner says here, "Exactly, caller. When a politician does what he's getting paid to do while enjoying the benefits, then the office he or she holds, they do not deserve the credits. However, for projects that change the course of a country or makes a great contribution to the quality of life of the people, then we can offer accolades." That's it for now, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message while we await your calls. Once again, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, Joachim Henry should run independent and give Lisa Jarayer competition. That is your point of view. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Caller, I do not know how much you can explain these basic things for people to understand. Labor pains is not for them. If Lucians cannot understand the simplistic policies, then no puyansa. The worst part with these gas prices for me is the highly educated people who would defend gas price at $16.50/$16. A call in line. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Good. I am happy to get a line as I did yesterday.
You're welcome, sir.
And as I said, you just had heard my voice on your show because I think now is a time for people to speak out. I don't think it is time for people to be stayed in the shell. Tim, I heard a caller a while ago. He said about he mentioned about Kenny and Danny. Now, whatever that's happening to Vieux-Fort and St. Lucia, it is not a Kenyan Danny issue. It is a labor issue. Tim, I started following politics from 1974. I was not age to vote as yet. I was listening to every. I did not know side yet. I was raised at a labor home. My family, they were fully labor. My family, part of my family became flambeau when deceased Maury Thomas came into politics in 1979. And that was when I cast my first vote. Tim, I look at the issue that's happening to us today. It is a labor policy. That's what I saw. That's why I stick to it. It is a labor policy. That's a policy of labor. When the poor man should always bow down to, and they create the atmosphere for that. That's the policy. Kenyan was not the one who created that. That was there already. In 1974, I originally from Fort North Team, but I live in Fort South now. In 1974, we reject a man that was from the Fort North Hill, Mr. Celeste. This is Mr. Celeste. We rejected the man for Boswell Williams. And the man begged us to vote for him, and we didn't. We didn't vote for him, we rejected him. And you know what happened to him? Boswell never put a feet up in word enough after he won that election, you know. Not even to say thank you to the people. And you know what? Then they tell you, oh, Labour, we are Labour, we say Labour because Labour c'est ça by Malawi. Labour a supporté Malawi, flambeau c'est pour la pour c'est diffé pour les moun. That is the kind of concept they inject into people. And Tim, thank God I understood that very early. And today I'm looking at the constituencies that Labour is representing. They are more backward than anywhere else. Tim, when I look at the people that were supporting Flambeau during that time, my early days, early time in my days, I look at these people. They were more progressive. They were people that are working hard for themselves. You know, looking at the rules of Labour, they're always depending on the party. Everything they talk about is what they're going to get from the party. And today, I'm looking at most people may disagree with me, but that's how I looked at it. Mostly everybody is supporting the Labour Party today. You know why? For personal gain. What they can get. What they get. And you know what? It is so evident. The evidence is there. For them to get the people on their side, on election day, they come in with a whole heap of money and they're spreading money on people to vote for them. That is how it is right now. Now, Tim, I don't believe in that. That's my freedom. My ancestors fought for. They didn't get it. They died for that. And that is, I got that today. I'm not going to sell that for any man or to any man. I am going to use my franchise to do what I feel that is right for the country, first of all, and for me. But Tim, that is not a Kenyan policy. That's the Labour Party policy. And that's why I'm not supporting the Labour Party. Because the policy is to keep the poor man down and to be looking on them as though they are God, you are your God. You have to kneel down and look to them for your needs. Tim, it is a shame today to see the state that we are in St. Lucia. And those who are rich, let me tell the team there is no middle class again. Right now we have two kinds of people. When we were so free. Right now we have the low class, which is the poor man, and you imagine now they've been building houses for the poorest of the poor. Tim, we are in a mess. We are in a mess in St. Lucia. The middle class has been defeated. They have been taken out, eradicated from the society in St. Lucia, and we have the high class now and the low class. The low class have to come and beg, have to come and kneel down to the high class, and now we have massages. We're talking about massages, the massages in the old days, but now we have more. We have more, and trust me, Tim, that is not for long again, because I for one will stand up for my rights and for the right of St. Lucia, to defend St. Lucia to the pool. Thank you, Tim, very much.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. Let's see if we have another call via WhatsApp. Hello, good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Again, 716-2026. This previous caller, he did call the broadcast yesterday. And on that occasion, he spoke about Tyson, and we should continue, according to him, to keep that story in the forefront, primarily in the search for justice for this dog who has perished, I think sometime last month. That would have been about the 25th of June.
My dogs at my home is more important for me than a firearm. Honestly. Mm-hmm. I appreciate my dogs. I like them because they're valuable for me. The same way, Tim, I can tell you, these dogs that was given to the government, to the police force, to do the work of discovering firearms and drugs. Tim, we St. Lucians have to value, we have to appreciate that very highly. Tim, when you have a firearm, you know that firearm is not in use. It's not in use whilst you're sleeping. Because you are the one that have to put the firearm in use. But when you have a dog or dogs at your house, when you sleep in, these dogs are there watching over you.
Yes.
But when you are sleeping, the firearm is there sleeping. Tim, there's nothing that was more important than that, than for the police force to have that dog from the French authorities. I think that subject who should ever die.
This individual once again called the broadcast yesterday, and to highlight that there's need for us to continue to focus on Tyson's death and continue to search for answers. Now, in this part of the world, talking about St. Lucia, backward St. Lucia in a number of areas, not in everything, in some areas, especially if it involves our political party and we don't want to take a position because it will embarrass the government of the day, in this case the SLP, then we will not support it. But canines, part of law enforcement in a number of jurisdictions, Canada, the UK, and the United States, they play an important and critical role. And they get that kind of respect that is deserving of the contribution that they make in the crime-fighting effort. Let me play you this report of an incident which occurred just on Sunday in North Georgia involving a canine.
All right, 5:35 this morning, a North Georgia deputy is now off the job after their canine died in a hot car. This all happened in Dade County. Investigators say Georgia, a female bloodhound, was left inside the patrol car while her handler was inside the sheriff's office. The air conditioner malfunctioned and the car's heat alarm was not working. Well, Georgia died after she was left in the car for, quote, what we consider to be an unacceptable amount of time. The sheriff's office fired the deputy and turned the case over to the district attorney's office, which will decide if charges will be filed.
In St. Lucia, we say, they murdered the dog, they murdered the dog. Then the person says, oh shit, you got all about. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026, 716-2026. We have a call via WhatsApp. Hello, good afternoon to you. You are on the air. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, Timothy.
Yes, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Timothy, I heard the gospel truth when it comes to politics from this guy that say it is not a Kenyan issue, it's the Labour Party issue. That is the gospel truth when it comes to politics. And that is how it has been all along. The man is correct, Timothy. The man is correct. That is how it has been all along. Gouvernement male way, Putin you male way, tout ces bagay ça là. I have never heard it so clear for a while. Because I want to use the hospital for an example. An 80-year-old hospital, 200 plus millions of dollars. And you're going to spend that money on that 80-year-old hospital. And while you're passing in the corridor of the hospital, your hand touching the ceiling. Yeah. As though St. Lucia don't deserve nothing good. Si bagay malewe, lem ou ka passe en hospital la lem ou ka touche fait taille. Là ouais, bagay sa a commencé péter descendre en hospital ça là. Mol. Moi voulais savoir qui ça quoi faire. Parce que hospital là qui là 8 years old là, ça après de l'eau, ça après soleil, ça après stéroïde, ça après toute bagay. Les mol commencé d'éclater à l'hôpital ça. Ça il a fait. Yo ka courir en box là. Avec ces patients là. Ça va être plus si le gouvernement ça là te spend $200 million ça en box là. Et mettez box là dans condition côté ça caille augmenter la santé moun et moun te caille ni en primaire côté pour ça coucher avec expérience maladie. If I knew that fella that give that talk there a while ago, but I still going to BBC, and that's the gospel. And I see it happening up to now in St. Lucia. The small ones, that is why the Labour Party is so concerned about the small thing, the 3 months work, the 6-week work, because they're feeling as though they're fulfilling the people promises. When they give them a couple week work, it would not be better if you invest some millions of dollars and send those people on a training course, so that when they leave that place 2-3 years, they have a good job. They go to the bank. You can go to a bank on a 3 months salary and say you want a loan to build a cottage or a house or something. And that is where the Labour Party are ready, and they're doing it well. They're doing it fairly well, so that they can convince the people to stay with them. But I believe this time around, it will not happen, because they believe the lies and propagandas of the Labour Party 2021, and they drink it like joy juice. They drink it like Kool-Aid, and now we are suffering. I just leave that election coming here this time around. I leave it in the hands of God. And God will choose whatever government he feels that will be in the best interest of his people. God have his children here. You understand? We shall to sell. He also said about Malewe Alabani and middle class course. Malewe Ekwish. Ekwishes. And that is what we're seeing right now. So I would like you to treat that caller as the caller of the DT Buffet. Seriously. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. We have another caller line. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm okay, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Good. So real quickly, I was on your show once. I'm going to have to drive this home to all solutions. There is an economical development plan that was designed for the citizenry of St. Lucia, branding each constituency that they would have their own initiative to create economical development and sustainable development for the youth, especially for young people. I will give St. Lucia a perfect example of one, because I have 18 of them that I did present to the government of the day. So for Viewport, what I did is that I designed the economical development plan was based on handicap tourism. The handicap tourism is a $52 billion industry. What I said to the government is this: in the tourism industry, if we focus on the 53 million people who are handicapped today with the countries that fly into and visit St. Lucia, why don't we target and tap into handicap tourism? Why? Because if you have 52 million handicappers in between England, Canada, America, the States, and Germany, if we brought in just 100,000 handicappers to St. Lucia a year, what happens is that handicappers never travel alone. They travel with 2 more people. So that's one handicapper bringing 2 people, 100,000 becomes 300,000. The other thing about handicappers is that they travel during low season, which means we can fulfill the low season void, which means we'll always have that traffic of tourism coming into the country. Now, I've tried to communicate with Jeremiah, Mr. Norbert, as he's responsible for the disability segment of his portfolio. But here's the thing I'm finding, Tim. We say that the greatest resources we have are our people. Our people are some of the greatest minds in the Caribbean. It's proven. We have 2 Nobel laureates that come right here from St. Lucia. Per capita, we're very good. We're looking very good on that note. My question is to the people. Ask your government, why do you have great minds sitting in your country who can bring forward to your government to initiatives that are so magnificently sound, like the one I've just spoken about, which I already have done before in the past in St. Lucia, and it is proven that it works. Because again, I used to lead my company, which was ran by an uncle of mine and a German gentleman called Dieter Lehmann. We catered to handicapped people from around the world. We catered specifically also to German-speaking people. I was the translator for these people. And we did tours with them around St. Lucia. Now, if we have such minds like this, such initiatives like this, the question is, instead of people asking me, why didn't the government take it up? Why aren't people asking the government, why are they not initiating and empowering people like myself to bring these initiatives to flourish? and by extension, creating massive amounts of employment amongst the citizenry island-wide. And that is just one of 18 initiatives I presented. So I don't want St. Lucians to believe that there are not people out there who have the ideas or the mindset to inject their ideas to the government. But the problem is, why is the government not moving forward with such initiatives? And this is the question the people have to pose to their government.
Okay, caller, thank you so much for calling. Just heard there from Chef Randy Mondesi. Recently, he was my guest on Newsmaker Live on DBS television. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. We have some more information to share with you in just a moment, including the reaction to the repainting of the Bum Bum Wall. Stay with us.
Carnival just got crunchier with KFC. It's time to fet, win, and feast with the Carnival Crunch Box. For just $30, get a Big Crunch or Zinger sandwich, 3 crunchy strips, a dipping sauce, regular fries, a 16-ounce soda, and a biscuit. But wait, that's not all. Every Carnival Crunch Box gives you a chance to win big. Promotion runs June 1st to July 20th. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Do whatever that crunch you want. Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Luselect customers are advised that from the 17th to the 29th of July, an island-wide meter replacement campaign will be undertaken. This is at no additional cost to customers. This is part of Luselect's ongoing commitment to providing a safe, reliable, and efficient service. The new meters will ensure continued accuracy in customer usage readings and ensure that services continue to meet the highest standards. Customers with meters scheduled for replacement will receive a Luselect notice at least 48 hours before. On the day of the replacement, a uniformed Luselect technician with proper identification will undertake the work, which is generally estimated to take less than 30 minutes. To ensure a smooth process, customers are encouraged to ensure that there is a clear, unobstructed path to their meter. All questions or queries concerning this meter change should be addressed to the Luselect customer service team at 457-4440 or the metering section at 457-4607. Luselect thanks their valued customers for their cooperation, understanding, and support throughout the process.
Your home is a reflection of who you are. So make it beautiful with MNC Home Depot.
Quality products at the best prices. Paint and plumbing to home appliances. Customer service, you can count on us. With experience you can trust.
So if you need to build it, clean it, style it, paint it or fix it, chances are we got it. MNC Home Depot, better value for better homes.
MNC Home Depot, better value for better homes.
Visit us in store or shop online at mnchomedepot.com. MNC Home Depot, better value for better homes.
Flo's prepaid customers can now unlock big bonus rewards like bonus data, prizes, and more every time you activate a 3-day prepaid plan or larger. Activate a plan, then scratch to reveal your bonus data. Plus, get points for extra prizes. The more you activate, the more bonus data and prizes you can win. Get in on the big bonus rewards when you activate a prepaid plan. Dial *129# or visit topupflow.com to activate a plan today.
At La Clinique de Corps, Your health comes first with St. Lucia's only advanced 1.5 Tesla MRI, delivering safe, radiation-free imaging aligned with World Health Organization and international standards. Not sure if you need an MRI, CT, or ultrasound? Our expert in-house doctors guide you so you get the right scan the first time. One accurate scan can change everything. Your peace of mind starts here. Get $50 off all consultations with our doctors now through July 31st. We're UHC approved and accept all major insurances. Visit us in Castries or Cocoville, Rodney Bay. Call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950. La Clinique de Corps. Advanced care, local access, your health reimagined.
Essie, don't tell me that tire flat again. I just changed that tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Chivi's Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Chivi's Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Chivi's Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vic Bouteille. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Chivi's Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
At First National Bank, we believe being first means putting you first. Your first home, we've got the mortgage. Starting your first business, count on our commercial loans. Dreaming of your first car? Drive it home today. Heading to college? Let's fund that first big step with a student loan. No matter the milestone, make First National Bank your first choice for all your loan needs. First in service, first in trust, first for you. Call us at 455-7000 or visit your nearest First National Bank branch today so we can help put you first. First National Bank, here for you.
This is the most monitored talk show where we take your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. The NewsSpin question of the day. The NewsSpin question of the day reads, as he exits the political arena, what is Dr. Kenny Anthony's legacy? As he exits the political arena, what is Dr. Kenny Anthony's legacy? That's the NewsSpin question of the day. And somebody has already pronounced on that legacy issue by a call they made to NewsSpin yesterday. And of course, we've had some reaction via your calls and your WhatsApp messages. Dr. Kenny Anthony, during that recent public gathering or meeting that he hosted over in Vieux-Fort in May of this year, said that he seeks no monuments.
I seek no monuments. I want no buildings, no roads, no communities named after me. None. And those of you who do so, who have named roads and communities after me, you do so at your own peril because you are earning my displeasure, as I have asked that you do not do so. I seek no titles. None. None. I do not wish my name to be decorated. And the reason why I told you that my academic accomplishments are next in importance to my political accomplishments is simple. I want to proceed peacefully, carrying with me only the academic title by which you have known me all of these years. I want no more. I want nothing. It is enough that you trusted me to represent you. So, when I leave you, I simply want you to remember me as a good and decent human being who understood love, compassion, mercy, integrity, commitment, and humility.
You just heard there from the outgoing MP for VA4 South, Dr. Kenny Anthony, addressing his supporters in May of this year. Let's continue with your calls and your WhatsApp messages, and in just a bit, Amanda will be going through some of the comments in the chat room. I've just taken the opportunity to call a particular individual over in the south of the island. Let's see if we have that call via WhatsApp, Mr. Producer. Good afternoon to you, the one and only Appa. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon, my brother. I'm good. What about you?
I am all right. Are you monitoring NewsSpin, sir?
Every day, my brother.
Okay. So you are an independent candidate for VA4 South. How does it look on the ground right now for you, Appa, considering now that Dr. Kenny Anthony is going to put all his weight, his influence behind Danny Butcher, and you have the United Workers' Party candidate in Lady Lee?
Well, presently on the ground in Beaufort, everybody I think is in limbo, you know.
Why?
Because, you know, I'm there representing the Beaufort people, not no party Beaufort, you understand? Willing to put myself to work with Beaufortians, not Beaufortians working with me, you understand?
Yeah.
But the Labours, they are divided, they have issues, you know, because Trisha Lionel was a favorite to run the seat, and they got Butcher. And you know, with Butcher is the continuation of Kenny's legacy, you know, which is not a bright picture in Beaufort. So I just want to let the Beaufort people know, well, they have to be confident in whatever decision they make, you know. We know our position in the country, the state of our community, you know, and all different social problems that we have in Beaufort, you know. So we have to choose the right candidate. Somebody who can fight for Beaufort and make sure things happen in Beaufort, not somebody to be begging, you know. Somebody that can get things done.
And you are still on course to contest the general elections, Appa?
Yes, my brother. The sails are gathering wind, you know. With John, my side, are in the battle, you know. As I tell you, it's not about Appa, it's not about David Charles, it's about Beaufort. Putting Beaufort back on the map, you know.
But do you think that, considering traditionally the people of VA4 South have voted Labour, it makes a difference that now they have Danny Butcher contesting on a St. Lucia Labour Party ticket? Don't you think that people will continue with tradition and will vote Labour even this time around?
Well, I respect tradition, you know. But when Jah works is ready to unfold, you know, traditions have to get broken. You know, David slew Goliath, you know, and I'm David. I'm getting Beaufort out of Babylonians, man, because nothing has been done for us, you know. Watch our wharf. 40 years, no development, you know, and Castri's wharf is congested. And we still can't get a bread. Our stevedores still have to be eating crumbs, you know. We have our issues with our fishermen. We have so many issues, you know, economical. You know, we have to bring the community back as one. So they have enough work, man. It's not just a common play we call on tithing, then you can get your hands dirty. You have to get your hands dirty to get back where we are, you understand?
But do you believe that people will see that Danny Butcher is a fresh, new face? I'm told he's an Adventist, an educator. Don't you think they're likely to put their confidence in him? Or do you believe that you have what it takes to win that seat?
Well, it's not me determining who will win that seat, you know. But as I present myself for the people, it's not no fake, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's the real thing. Now, Danny Butcher being selected by Kenny, by the party, you know, and he has been groomed by Kenny D. Anthony. If we stay real to ourselves and we stay real to our words, we'll have a defensive view for it.
What if, sir, what if the SLP retains the seat? What message will you take from that if the SLP wins?
Well, you Fushans have decided their destiny, and I'm with whatever they do, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
That the message will be printed well before it is a Labour constituency. Regardless of what happened, no work or work, they will stay with Labour.
But what would have prompted you, sir, to contest as an independent? Because I think the last time around you were a supporter of the St. Lucia Labour Party. What would have caused you to do that?
You know, to set the record straight, you know, I was born in a family of UWP. And since Compton passed away, knowing I'm an old school player, you know, the way Shasney was leading the UWP party, I was not satisfied with it, you know, so I had to step aside and work with Kenny and Tony Chu. He invited me on board, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted a difference. But working with Kenny and Tony for the past 4 years, you thought I'm not make an inch forward, you understand? So I'm not pleased with it. With my knowledge of politics in St. Lucia, I feel I can do good for the people. Humanitarian always, you know.
So in the event you win as an independent MP, and I think I've asked you that question before, are you likely to join the winning party, be a part of the government? Because that's what we realized happened during the last election or after the last poll. Two individuals who presented themselves as independents, they are now with the St. Lucia Labour Party administration. What if you were to win as an independent? Would you be willing to work with the government to be part of the cabinet?
Well, that'll be a pleasure to work with the ruling government.
Mm-hmm.
But that decision will have to be taken by the people who put me to support them and to work with them, you understand?
Right.
But I will not work with a party and see my people of St. Lucia, the people of my constituency is being dealt wrong and say I have it, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be wrong.
My final question
so
is...
So the party, if I win...
Go ahead.
The party that will want to give me, if I'm successful in the next election, they must know well it's equal rights and justice and everybody in, you understand? So they'll get a position from me as long as those suit the country.
Would you want to work with a Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre or Prime Minister Alan Shasney?
That is a ticklish question, you know. But whichever one comes, I'm up to work with them, you understand? Mm-hmm. I don't have no special choice.
All right, Appa. Thank you so much.
Yes, my brother.
All right, thank you so much. So about a year ago, maybe 2 years, we had already endorsed Appa as the NewsSpin candidate for VA4 South in the upcoming general election. Amanda, good afternoon to you. Let's find out what is happening in the chat room.
A few comments from earlier team. A commentary reads, Labour supporters are brainwashed. They don't see what is right in front of them and affecting them personally in a negative way. A NewsSpinner says here, meanwhile, they blame Mr. Allen for the lack of development on the island with a short pandemic term. Another commentary reads, you need to build more police stations and prisons when your mandate for elections reduces the investment in human development and tertiary and vocational education. Someone here says, this comment is from Randall Mondesi. I presented an economical development plan to the SLP. Even Kenny was impressed with it, and so did most SLP and UW supporters. Why do we kill the great minds of this country? A commentary reads, Tim, the legacy of some politicians can be identified by their assets instead of the development of our country. A NewsSpinner says here, wow, caller, you are on sports. This is a Labour policy to keep the poor man down and keep them dependent, which is why their slogans will be crafted to suit this thinking, putting you first to keep them in power. Another commentary reads, for anyone to call and say that Kenny Anthony did nothing to develop St. Lucia is pure rubbish. Commentary reads, Handicap tourism caller. We have not prioritized convenient facilities for handicapped people to move around. How will we accommodate that niche group? Someone here says, I don't think this hospital will meet international standards. What a shame after spending so many millions. Someone says here, when information is not forthcoming, the people are left to speculate. Do not get mad, Mr. Prime Minister, because speculation is what you continue to leave us with. Someone says here, Richard Frederick will take all the titles that you do not want. Kenny Anthony. And a comment here reads, APA just support Lady Lee. We know your heart and we understand your passion for V4, so join us to make a meaningful impact in the South. That's it, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Somebody says there, Houston, Texas, we are locked in. Hello to you folks watching and listening to the broadcast in that part of the United States. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, who is the benefit from the partnership between Nigeria and St. Lucia? A gateway to the U.S., OECS, CARICOM. Wow. And some more of your messages. Somebody says that Tim, a caller spoke on the various proposals presented to government which fell on deaf ears. The SLP government that ignores innovation is a government that fails its people. When a citizen repeatedly presents meaningful proposals, like making St. Lucia a destination for accessible tourism, and not one is taken seriously, reflects lack of leadership by a Prime Minister who never thought tourism could recover after COVID. We have a Minister of Tourism with a PhD, yet we've seen no real economic vision, no measurable progress. A title without action is meaningless. What we need is critical thinking, not just credentials. Another WhatsApp message. Kenny Anthony's legacy is a nice big house in Cul-de-sac with a royal entrance. Another one reads, anyone who dismisses Dr. Kenny Anthony as a legitimate leader of St. Lucia, who has a good legacy, has not been looking at the contribution of Prime Ministers of St. Lucia. Sir John Compton stands on the political hilltop all by himself. Of the others, Alan Louisi, Michael Pilgrim, Vaughan Lewis, Stevenson King, Alan Chastain, Philip Pierre, who has a better legacy? Dr. Anthony categorically has a legacy in St. Lucia. Grosley Road expansion, universal high school education, modernization of fire stations and police stations, and many more accomplishments. If Dr. Anthony has no legacy, then no one else save Sir John has legacy in St. Lucia's political history. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. And somebody says that, sorry to say, but APA, you lack confidence and you are unsure of yourself. That's according to a WhatsApp message. Another one says there, good afternoon. It doesn't matter what political party that's in power. The fact that there's only one minister that represents so many communities, there'll always be problems. For example, Castries Southeast, you have Badi Chaussee, Ortsa, Bexon, Forestier, Bel-Air, Lacroix, Mengo, and Mark. And another WhatsApp message. Somebody says, the caller who spoke on the labor is very much correct and on point. I was born in VA4 in the 1960s. I attend Mrs. Adriana's preschool at the cinema owner, her son, the Vivian Monero. The late Bruce Williams, brother of the late Boswell Williams, always waits after school, dismissed, to give us sweets and biscuits. He lived on the same side of the school. When he did show, sometimes some of the children would cry as they can't eat biscuits or sweets. So you see, Tim, the labor has other people dependent on them. VFA has not developed ever since. They rejected my cousin, Murray Thomas, a man who did so much for the community. 4522979. WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Let's see there if we have another. Let's see if we have a call on the line. In the meantime, allow me to go through your WhatsApp message. Okay. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, AA St. Lucia comes home often enough. The appearance of the airport in VA4 is disgusting. Given the fact that tourism is our main source of income and Dr. Kenny Anthony was the Prime Minister for years and did nothing to enhance the appearance of the area, he should be ashamed of himself. You have a call. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi. Good afternoon to your caller.
And good afternoon to your callers. Tim, I remember when it was around 97, I was like a teenager You know, unfortunately, I voted, and when I voted for one, it's almost like it was like a paradox for me. I voted for one, and I wanted the other to win, right? I guess when you're young, you're a teenager, you're not sure what you're doing. However, as a young businessman or entrepreneur growing up, what I noticed with the Kenya Anthony administration, and this happened under him, was there was a fattening of government. Okay? I don't know if that was a mandate to hire as many people as possible, but a lot of bureaucracy was introduced to this country under the Labour administration. And I don't think we have gotten, how should I put it, we still have a situation where, you know, as taxpayers, we pay a lot of money and taxes, and we don't see the return. You go to government buildings, you don't get the type of service you want. And like I said again, the bureaucracy, the red tape for a small country, you want to open up a business, you want to start this, you want to do that, you have to go here, there, and everywhere. And again, you know, COVID came, a lot of these things came, other administrations were there. They did nothing to tighten the belt. It was always a situation where anything happened economically, we, the public, had to tighten our belt. But the top-heavy government that we have, you know, there was no tightening of the belt, there was no reduction. And I'm not saying that people should go around firing anybody. But at the end of the day, if we as taxpayers have to continue to foot the bill for government workers, and I'm not saying anything against government workers, don't get me wrong, Tim. However, when you have that situation and you don't have, you know, we don't have any justifiable reason to have all of these people, what do we do, Tim? What do we do when at the end of the day, there's a lot of wastage in government, there's a lot of square pegs in round holes in government, and, you know, at the end of the day, the public that's paying that price doesn't get, you know what it's worth at the end of the day. So for us, I mean, for me, personally, I can see that through this administration, through the Kenya Anthony administration, that there was a fattening of the government, and we haven't seen it shaved off yet. It's getting fatter and fatter with all the technical assistants, all the, you know, what they call them, those private people that they hire, consultants. Right. So, you know, all of these types of things, again, we need to see something different, and I don't think the other side will make a difference, because if they do shave it off, it will be political suicide. So, in other words, we, the population, we find ourselves between a rock and a hard place when it comes to things like that, because, again, we have to foot the bill for this top-heavy government. Give thanks.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. WhatsApp message, somebody says there, tell your caller that if God used to interfere in the politics, that all countries would have had good government, and St. Lucia is included. And talking about God still to come on this broadcast, the Archbishop speaks about the Bum Bum Wall. This is the most monitored talk show in the world.
Mark your calendars for July 30th and 31st. It's 2 days of sizzling savings you don't want to miss. Cashier Day is coming to Europa Hardware. Get 15% off all your favorite cashier gear. Wet and dry vacuum cleaners, powerful pressure washers, gas or electric, upholstery cleaners and steam cleaners that make grime run for cover. Swing by Europa Hardware and score 15% discount during the Cashier Day promotion. Remember, it's July 30th and 31st. Write it down, set a reminder, tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't wait, don't miss out. Call us at 452-0763. Europa Hardware in Massad Grocery Lane. We service what we sell.
Prepare for the hurricane season by ensuring trees and other objects on your property won't get tangled in overhead wires. Be careful. Ensure ladders and tools don't come within 10 feet of power lines. If a tree is near electrical lines, don't try to trim it yourself. Contact Lucelec at 452-2165 or 454-6617. Be smart, stay safe.
Tired of sky-high bills and a planet on the brink? It's time to go green without burning your pockets. At First National Bank, we are here to make saving the planet affordable. Whether you're installing solar panels, purchasing a water tank, upgrading to an inverter AC, or buying a hybrid vehicle, we've got the green to help you go green. fast approval, low interest rates, and Mother Nature approved. Your future self will thank you. Visit firstnationalbankonline.com or call 455-7000 for more information to help you turn your green dreams into clean reality. First National Bank, here for you.
It's in the feeling and how we talk. It's in the meaning and our spark. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are. Cause the rhythm of life keeps pumping. Together going strong. No matter what, we keep things flowing. Before we will go all in. Our hands up in the sky. Celebrating. Come let your rhythm flow.
Carnival just got crunchier with KFC. It's time to fet, win, and feast with the Carnival Crunch Box. For just $30, get a big crunch or zinger sandwich, 3 crunchy strips, a dipping sauce, regular fries, a 16-ounce soda, and a biscuit. But wait, that's not all. Every Carnival Crunch Box gives you a chance to win big. Promotion runs June 1st to July 20th. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Crunch you want. I in a good spirit. I drink in a good
St.
spirit.
Lucia, are you ready for the ultimate all-inclusive?
Chalet Blanc, the all-white event. Tier 1 now available at Frontline Ticketing, Eventbrite, Digital Baywalk Mall, 4 Circles Ticketing, or WhatsApp at 240-344-8629. A musical journey curated by the best local and international DJs. St. Lucia Carnival Saturday, July 19th, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m.
At Sanders Golf and Country Club, Kappa State.
Look something to talk about.
Unlimited. Drink, brunch buffet, top-class entertainment.
Stay tuned. This event is powered by One Golden Fox and Natalie Events.
At La Clinique de Corps, your health comes first with St. Lucia's only advanced 1.5 Tesla MRI, delivering safe, radiation-free imaging aligned with World Health Organization and international standards. Not sure if you need an MRI, CT, or ultrasound? Our expert in-house doctors guide you so you get the right scan the first time. One accurate scan can change everything. Your peace of mind starts here. Get $50 off all consultations with our doctors now through July 31st. We're UHC approved and accept all major insurances. Visit us in Castries or Cocoville, Rodney Bay. Call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950. La Clinique de Corps. Advanced care, local access, your health reimagined.
It's time to paint and save at MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt. Get 20% off on all Berger Everflow and Magic Coat paint during our big carnival season paint sale. Whether you're refreshing one room or painting the whole house, now's the perfect time to add that pop of color. But hurry, the Brush and Save sale is only here for a limited time.
We have one of our greatest festivals. Well, I'm sorry that our minister came to our celebration today, and I'm not targeting him at all, but I cannot resist talking about this. And I have no problem with Carnival, because it is a form of catharsis. That means a nation needs to find means to, to exhaust. They need to find means to do that. But the repainting of the Bam Bam Wall, I think that's an aberration. It is an indication of where our country is going. Tell me, what value, what spiritual, cultural, or any other value is this Bam Bam Wall to anybody? Tell me. It is only raising the carnal aspect of our being. Now, we all have a carnal aspect. We have a spiritual aspect, and we have a carnal aspect. It's dependent on which one we feed. Which one do we feed? And from what I'm seeing, that we are feeding the carnal aspect of ourselves. And what do we expect from it? Are we expecting a nice and dandy nation? I don't think so. I really don't think so. And then we are surprised at the direction that our country is going, that our youth are taking, and that the corruption of the mind and how we see human beings as things to be used, where we have, after we have a few drinks in our head, we have no inhibition and no control. So therefore that becomes our God. It becomes our God, what we worship. We might argue that it is just passing. It's passing. And we call it culture. Brothers and sisters, there is good culture and there is bad culture.
The head of the Catholic Church in St. Lucia, Archbishop Gabriel Marzer, what is the value? How can we put that to maximum use? Referring there to the Bum Bum Wall. 4522979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. In a moment, we'll have a final update from Amanda regarding some of the comments in the chat room. Let's take a call. Rick Wayne, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Tim, you know, it worries me that we keep on doing more or less the same thing, talking the same subject in the same way, and more often than not, the same people talking the same subject. And it's no wonder we're not going anywhere. The truth being, it's not that we're not going anywhere, we're not going forward. We keep on slipping because that's the way it is. If you're not moving forward, you don't stand still. You keep slipping back. Not moving forward means you're not keeping up with the times and nothing. So you fall backwards. You know, that question. Oh, that dog of mine. That question about legacy. I mean, it depends on what you mean by legacy to begin with. It normally refers to a lasting impact and the way the person will be remembered for generations to come. If we start to think about what will be Kenny's impact, his legacy, Kenny's been involved in so many things at different levels, and so much of it has been politically directed, supported, or put down on strictly political grounds. You agree with that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just imagine, Tim, if instead of going into politics, the nasty of politics, because anybody who chooses, I said very strongly, I'm convinced at this point, I've been saying that for a while, but anybody who chooses to make his contribution in the kind of politics or what passes for politics, especially in poor countries like ours, at the very least need to be put under a microscope before you just accept them, embrace them. You get my point?
Yeah.
And no good reason.
And I don't even think sometimes we need to put those people under a microphone because this is this is a small territory and we know each other.
You already know them.
Yeah.
Good. So I'm saying even the better ones deserve to be put under a microscope. And I'm not the first to say that. Of all people, Kenny Anthony said that as well. Okay? But we keep on doing the same thing. We keep on cussing each other in the same way. We keep on loving or hating people based on the party color. And we keep on being the victims. Mm-hmm. Well, that is something for our people to think about. But I was thinking, you know, just imagine, Tim, that we had somebody like Kenny Anthony, with George Adlam, Hunt, Julian Hunt, Von Lewis, and a couple of the other women. I need not go into more names by now. These were people with energy, people who thought, people who had drive, etc.
What class? What class?
If they had not gone into politics, but instead continued in their normal business, but together demanded of the government what the people wanted, what they promised, stand up against the government, protest when they need to, and give praise when needed. But these guys would not be interested in getting into.
But Rick, would that have made a difference considering the psyche of the less gifted, less au fait, less enlightened sections of the society who are in the majority? Those people are hell bent on supporting their government and their party, irrespective of what happens.
You see, that's the thinking we've been stuck with for years. But those were talented guys, energetic guys with ideas, and they would attract other people like themselves for discussions. I mean, it is ridiculous that I cannot remember the last time we had a proper debate on any topic, even when we have situations that require consulting with the people. The people get conned.
Yeah.
What passes for consultation is the illusion of inclusion. Even I cannot think of one thing that is supposed to be in the interest of the people that is conducted in a fashion that we can all agree was in the interest of the people.
Yeah, but Rick, are the people interested in that kind of discussion you're talking about?
I want to say this, Tim. I'm not just talking about now. I'm saying if only. Because I suspect that if we had what I just suggested there a long time ago, with different names if you like, if we had that kind of situation, rather than everybody wanting to get into politics because that's the way to get rich, we would not have the kind of population, bear that in mind. We would have a different kind of population. There'd be a different kind of education. Today I was saying to somebody, much of what we are suffering right now is a consequence of the education of the people who are in office. And I don't mean education generally. I mean the kind of education that put no emphasis on empathy with people, on recognizing the poor, putting themselves in the... All these guys do is want to get into office to get rich. And they do it quickly now without anybody, because the people now have been rendered to slaves. We don't know it, but we have been rendered to the status of slaves, you know. Whoever wants to argue that, let them. When we can readily accept it, that half a loaf is better than none, and we can readily accept it, $5 can fill a hole, or don't give me a rod, teach me how to fish. But we're not considering whether the ocean we're supposed to fish in has any fish left, because of all kinds of deals we did with Koreans and all kinds of people like that who with one net took away a year's worth of fish. You remember that?
Yes.
What we have done to the environment, the amount of poisoning we have put in there, the number of people who have died in this country from consequences of stupid governance, of people who only care about making money. The banana spraying thing was terrible. The mosquito spraying, all of that was poisoning people, you know, Tim. You know that?
I'm aware.
You're aware of that, but most people are not. So our governments have, by and large, been either too stupid for the offices they hold, or they're too venal. So now everybody is the same. What is the real difference between the UWP, and don't worry to play the games with me. What is the difference between the UWP and the Labour Party? Significant difference. So, somebody going to tell me Alan's a nicer guy. Maybe, so what? Or Pip is a nicer guy. So what? At the end of the day, they're going to the same people for vote. They have to do the same kind of stuff to get the vote. They have to... Kenny Anthony said on his speech in Beaufort, he pointed out that the politics we have is not the politics he envisaged coming into, you know. And he mentioned he never envisaged that they would come and people would be buying votes the way we do. That's in his speech to them. These things have been normalized. How are we going to reverse it? We have no idea. The days when we used to think we'll run up to the States and live like animals in Brooklyn, that's over. The days when we think a pregnant woman could go to Miami and have a child and blah, 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 that's over. So we have a bunch of problems that are altogether new, but are not being addressed at all because it does not, I mean, the CIP situation. Have we really had an accounting for all the things we heard about CIP, Tim? Have we really had an accounting? The reports, have the reports been tabled yet?
I think we have the last one tabled recently, but there's still one that's pending.
But if you ask the average smart guy in St. Lucia about the intricacies of CIP and accountability, you think he can really have a conversation with you that is not just blatantly political? I doubt it. If you talk to a UWP guy, he'll talk to you, give you some answers, political. You talk to a Labour guy, he'll give you some answers, political. And we pay the price for all of that, Tim. The only guys who prosper are the 4 or 5 leading politicians. Guys who you would not hire for your business. You wouldn't have enough faith. And they are now dealing with billions of dollars and don't have to account. We have the Integrity Commission. When was there a report? We have a court system. Nobody knows how it works. We have important offices like the DPP. We don't even know if we have one. We have investigations hanging over leading police officers. Nothing done. And I could go on and on and on. And no matter what happens, if tomorrow you really expect, even the people who expect the best from the United Workers' Party, you really believe that the United Workers' Party can come in next month and it will attack the leading problems in the country, Tim? You know how much that's going to cost? You know how many people are likely to get fired? You know how the country, somebody going to go strike and the opposition is going to do? No cooperation. We cannot make up our minds that this is screwed up, it must be fixed. That the foundation is messed up. So we cannot make up our minds on that. We fight each other over stupid buildings on the basis it had a colonial background. Do we fight each other over that? You realize that? The things we want to preserve are relics of slavery. Meanwhile, we ourselves are running slave plantations by another name. Poverty is slavery, Tim. We have degrees of poverty in the country. But nobody is discussing those things because everybody wants to be a politician. Even the politicians criticize one another only to a certain extent. Nobody pushes hard enough to have a serious investigation so that crooked politicians will pay the price. Nobody pushes that past a certain mark. You're aware of that?
Definitely, sir.
So, so Kenny's legacy will depend on how the Labour Party feels about him in the years to come. What is John Compton's legacy? For me, if I'm thinking of the one thing Kenny will be remembered for, will be that he came out of nowhere, more or less, and in a few months was able to get 99.9% of St. Lucians to embrace him for a better St. Lucia. And then we have to see, did he deliver? Did he deliver significantly on the ambitions of all of those St. Lucians who put their faith, love, and hope in him? Did he deliver? A square in Beaufort? Proud? Those are the things you're going to point to. Step? Those are things to remember anybody by. These are just normal things by different names. All the politicians have done the same damn thing. You just call the things different names, Tim. By and large, we are a poverty-stricken country in every way. Lousy health care, people dying unaccounted for. Our court system does not work. Registries are a joke. Our passports are being sold to all kinds of people. We don't know who they are. We run the risk right now of having foreigners taking part in our elections. We don't know what the hell we're doing. Those are the things to think about if we are going to go anywhere, take any new steps in the near future, Tim. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for calling, Rick. We have lots of WhatsApp messages, but unfortunately we can't go through them. I'll try to go through them during the course of this week before we bring the curtains down on the NewsSpin broadcast. But let me go through this one WhatsApp message. It is hypocritical to condemn a wall that encourages dancing and showing off bum, while at the same time defending or celebrating Carnival, where entire streets are transformed into public stages for the very same behavior. If one claims that a wall incites indecency or immorality because of the actions it inspires, then by the same standard, a road filled with revelers who dance and openly display themselves during Carnival is equally culpable. Some comments in the chat room. Amanda.
A few comments from me, Tim. Someone says there, Caller, you are not being completely honest because during the pandemic, Shasni made offers to the public servants to help reduce the squeeze on the public purse, and they refused. Another commentary reads, did I just hear a priest who's supposed to be a man of God say that he sees nothing wrong with Carnival? A NewsSpin says here, so it's a case of forget your problems and dance. Alcoholism, weed, and bacchanal is the order of the day. Then their lives are in disarray and they want to blame government, parents, teachers, etc. Shake my head. Someone says there, he said that he is supporting the Carnival, but not the way they portray themselves, the nakedness of the costumes. It is just not right. That's it for now.
Thank you so much. That's your final update, by the way. So that's not it for now. That's your final update. I will be back, God willing, tomorrow with some more updates with Amanda regarding comments in the chat room. Finally, our NewsSpin news of the day. The NewsSpin news of the day reads, Cuban minister says there are no beggars in the country. She was forced to resign. Cuban minister says there are no beggars in the country, and as a result of this, she had to resign. Our NewsSpin news of the day as we draw the curtains on another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. My name is Timothy Poleon. Goodbye.